What is up, you guys? Back in your life with another video. Today we're doing a video on DC Stipe 252. Just kind of go over what my post-fight reaction and what I thought of the fight, and you can also get your feedback, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I just got finished watching the fight. I watched the majority of each round. I kind of like sped through because I can kind of remember the gist of it. But let's go over the notes here I took. For the most part, I noticed that Stipe dominated in the clinch. He was hitting him with those body shots early, man, and it was just like you could tell it was taking a toll on DC, but he was kind of hiding it. He came in maybe he came in thicker than ever. Like he was thick. Like how Brendan Schaub says thick. He was thick, but he came in cardio wise, I think, better shape. Like you can tell from his previous fight, where he said he had all his back surgeries and he was like couldn't wrestle, things like that. And he probably couldn't run, he probably couldn't do anything, but he seemed like he was doing better cardio wise. So those body shots weren't affecting him as much. And I noticed he was keeping his elbows down, so he definitely was like getting, he wasn't affecting him the same. Um, Stipe was still getting hit with stuff. He was keeping that left hand down, so he was open to getting hit with that overhand right that Cormier was throwing at him. Cormier with that overhand is just it's devastating. If you get hit with it, you going out like. And he's good with those dirty boxing uppercuts, so things like that. He was getting in on Stipe a lot with those, but it wasn't enough to definitely win the fight. Um, and Stipe was using the reach to his advantage, even though he was poking DC a lot. He still was using that reaching jab to his advantage, and he just used he was the bigger guy, so he was just using he was the bigger guy, so he was using his size to his advantage to dominate DC. So like up against the cage, I noticed there was a lot of times when the clinch, of course, when they were in the clinch, and he was just like, and he was just dominating them. DC just looked like he was just lost at certain points. I was also wondering why DC wasn't trying to escape or what was going on with him, because you would think DC's a world class wrestler, an Olympic wrestler at that, and he wasn't even like dominating Stipe. But it was the other way around. It's like Stipe brought his wrestling shoes. Like DC told him to bring his wrestling shoes, but Stipe obviously was the one that brought his wrestling shoes. So yeah. So round one, I noticed it ended. Round one, DC hurt Stipe with that right hook at the end, and I don't know how he survived that. I thought the fight was over, but he kind of just circled away, and that was it. So I remember that was pretty much how the round one ended. Round two, Stipe ended with those right hooks, that flurry, and that looked just like fight two. And I was like, here we go again. Stipe did that. DC did that awkward fall. He was just like, just like flinging back, and I was just like, okay, it's over. But DC saved by the bell, man. And he was just badly hurt, dude. I was just like, how did he survive? Like, and I was also wondering the rest of the fight, like how much did that affect him the rest of the fight, like being pretty much knocked out on his feet, because he was hurt, man. And he just, when he got up, man, he was wobbling. I mean, like I said in the previous video, he was looked like he was drunk, man. Because when I just watched it again, I was like, man, he was badly hurt, dude. He was just like, he was out of there, dude. And then later on round three, I remember Stipe definitely dominated that round. No, wait, no, Stipe did not. Yeah, round three, Stipe dominates and he hits Cormier with that eye poke. That's what it was. Yeah, so definitely Stipe won that round. I remember he was just dominating it with a lot of jabs and things like that, but he definitely hit him with that eye poke, and that's when the fight kind of changed. And man, his eye was jacked, dude. I was like, it was almost like he was cockeyed or something, or he wasn't, like when he looked at the camera or the camera zoomed in on him, it was like his eye was just like somewhere else. Like it's like I thought that was gonna be permanent damage. Like now today's the 25th and it's a month later, and I've been watching DC and Helwani pretty much every week, and his eye looks back to normal. But after that fight, man, I thought his eye was gonna be effed forever. Like I thought it was gonna be messed up forever, but it looks like it's healing up nice, and that's good on him. Round four, DC turned it on. I remember DC dominated that round. He was catching them with the dirty boxing and the hooks and the overhand rights, and it was just like it was just a round for him. And another thing, I only gave DC round one and round four. I don't know how y'all scored it. You can let me know in the comments how you scored it, but I only gave DC round one and four, so I had it 3-2 Stipe. So round five, Stipe just once again just takes over, dominates. He just outlanded him. He outlanded him strike wise. I was looking at the strike stats a minute ago, and I was just like, DC just Stipe just pretty much just outstruck him in that round and just outclassed him. But yeah, DC just definitely after that, I remember DC said he was retiring, but he kind of said it in the interview. He was like, unless I'm fighting for titles, I'm pretty much done. So I basically he kind of said he was retiring after the fight. I mean, I think if somebody offers him a big money fight like him versus Brock Lesnar or Jon Jones again at heavyweight, or even Francis maybe if they're talking about the right money, I think he'd come back. But he said after the fight he didn't want to take away Stipe's shine. That's why he didn't do the whole glove drop thing and things like that. So that was respectful of him. He didn't want to take away Stipe's shine, and he won. But he definitely said after the fight in the interview that he was pretty much done. And my take on DC, I'm not really a huge fan of his because I'm a Jon Jones guy pretty much. But I mean, I still respect the guy as a fighter. He's fought the best of the best. I mean, when he beat Rumble Man and dominated him with wrestling, and then when he beat Gustafson, that was probably the second best fight. I mean, other than Jones, Gustafson won was probably one of the best fights ever. But that second time Gustafson was in a war with DC, that was definitely probably one of the top five fights. I would say that in UFC history. So yeah, I mean he's fought the best of the best. He's definitely just top top two, maybe top two. We'll get to that later. Like who you think the best heavyweight of all time is? I think he's probably he's in the top three. I would think probably number three. I don't know. I would maybe put Kane or something, and maybe number two, and then but Kane and Stipe they may interchange. I don't know. I like Kane a lot. The next thing is like I was just saying. The next thing is like, who do y'all think is the best heavyweight of all time? I mean, like I said, I would say DC. I mean, I would say Stipe or Kane. Um, I just feel like in Kane's day, he was definitely more of a dominant wrestler, and he had cardio for days. Um, like the trilogy he had with JDS, man, that was one of the best trilogies ever. But yeah, Kane was really good, and I also think like I would say Brock is in the top five, but he definitely had some really exciting fights. Shane Carwin was a good champ. This is just a lot of good heavyweights, but I feel like the light heavyweight division definitely has more of a classier heavyweight or more classier heavyweights where the fights are better and things like that. Like Jon Jones to me is just the GOAT, and he has some of the most classic fights that you'll ever see. And I could watch Jon Jones fight all day. I could watch the Jon Jones DC fights all day. I mean, watching the head kick in their second fight when he stumbles and knocks DC out was just, I mean, I was yelling at the top of my lungs in a bar, however long ago that was. And that was just one of the best moments ever. And in the first fight, when they just kind of just went the distance and just kind of just punched each other to death. So DC, like I said, probably top three for me. Um, Number three for me, and I would say Kane would be two. And then my favorite, I mean, my pick would probably be DC. And now would be Stipe. Now I may have recency bias, but I just definitely feel like Stipe. I mean, he's pretty much beat the who's who. The only person he didn't really get to fight was Kane. So maybe if we had saw him versus Kane, then we could definitely be like, yeah, he's the best. But he definitely beat pretty much everybody that he's supposed to beat. He just needs to get that one back with Stephen Struve. But that, I mean, I don't know if anybody wants to see that. That's kind of that was a long time ago, early in his career, and who knows if Stephen Struve would even compete now against him. So I don't know, man. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Uh, just let me know in the comments below what you want me to talk about next, or and what you thought of the fight, and subscribe, like the channel, and oh, and the next thing, one more quick thing. Who do y'all think Stipe should fight next? Do y'all think he should fight Jon Jones? Do y'all think he should fight Francis? I'll give you my opinion real quick. I mean, I think that Francis is definitely up next because he's worthy of the title shot because he's just been on this crazy run. He had that big knockout of Jairzinho, and then he's been starching dudes, man. He's just been really, really strong lately of just showing like knockout power of. He's literally the predator. Like he looks like the predator. He fights like the predator. He just literally has so much power behind him, and he's just scary, dude. Like I wouldn't want to be in an alley with him, and he's walking towards me. I'm done. Like I don't even want nothing. Just take my money or whatever. But I definitely just feel like Jon Jones will be a fun fight for Stipe. I think they match up well. They're just similar size, similar build, similar height, similar reach. Jon Jones still has a longer reach, I hear. But I feel like Jon Jones Stipe will be more fun. I think he would sell more. But I think the Francis is more worthy. I also feel like Francis would probably kill Stipe this time around because I feel like he's a more well-rounded fighter now. He's also still got that power, and I don't know how many more punches Stipe can really take, like he took in that first fight they had. Because you noticed when he fought him the first time, he got rocked a lot, and then that immediate next fight he had with DC, DC just caught him with that little overhand right hook in the first fight. And Stipe was out, man. He was out like a night. He was out like a light. He was on the ground, with his pillow and his teddy bear. He was asleep, man. But yeah, this time around, I don't know how many of them Francis shots Stipe can take, man. It's just gonna be interesting to see either one. I think him versus Stipe, Stipe versus Jon Jones will be really good, or Stipe versus Francis will be really good. Either one, take my money. I'm here for it. Jon Jones, hey man, if you come in a heavyweight, please be careful, bro. Just these dudes, they got power, bro. So either way, man, just I'm ready to see some good fights coming up. So yeah, like I said, back on point. Like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about next. Let me know who you thought won. Also, I mean, not who you thought won. Let me know who you think is the best heavyweight fighter of all time. Let me know who you think Stipe should fight next. And yeah, man, that's it. I'll take it easy.